Hello everyone. Today we will present a summary article titled Indonesia Perspective on Managing the Asean Haze. This article examines Indonesian reaction towards regional haze management effort between October 2006 and September 2007. Two significant developments occur during this time has drawn the attention to Indonesia's sovereignty sensitivities. Firstly, while Indonesia at first seems to be moving towards ratification of the Asean Agreement on Transboundary Haze Pollution, it abruptly decided to set up a special committee to study the treaty, effectively halting the parliamentary ratification process. Secondly, after taking for regional help by inviting ASEAN member countries to assist area of the choosing, Indonesia later refused to approve their proposal. The article argues that Indonesia is reluctant to give up control over its sovereignty due to the shadow of bloody colonial history, which bitter the foreign interventionists experience territorial dispute with its neighbors and ongoing internal conflicts. The external non-intervention is especially important to Indonesia now, in the process of decentralizing and dealing with the arising internal complications, especially those involving forest resource. This article aims to contribute to the literature by concentrating on the Indonesia response to the ASEAN various attempts at managing the regional haze.
Okay, now let's take a look at the cause and effect. Firstly, the granting of excessive timber concessions and the poor policing of mandatory selective logging and reforestation regulations give little incentive to adhere to fire prevention policies. The resulting of disrupted forest canopy exaggerates the drying of the forest in the dry seasons. Secondly, logged areas are often converted into the timber oil or oil palm plantations. This is the program which has received government support in Indonesia. For them, burning is the cheapest and easiest method to clear the land. Thirdly, the clearing of land has also been linked to transmigration programs that require deforested areas for settlement. Fourth is the draining of peat swamps, which is a good form of carbon sinks for rice cultivations. The dried peats may burn easily, and as the fires sometimes extend to deposit deep underground, rainfalls does not always put them out. The smoke produced contains the highest concentrations of pollutants. Through Indonesia did not acknowledge these contributions during the 1997 to 1998 crisis. In all, Indonesia's commitment to an obviously and unsustainable exploitations of its timbers resource is a major factor in this crisis. Okay, now let's move to the effect. Firstly, the haze caused repeated emergencies in Singapore, Malaysia, Brunei, Indonesia itself, and to some extent Thailand and the Philippines. Regarding of above 100 psi, psi is stand for pollutants standard index is unhealthy, and in excess of 300 and it is hazardous. While reliable data is not available from Indonesia, Singapore, and Peninsular Malaysia recorded a PSI of 140 in September 1997. In East Malaysia, a PSI of 849 was recorded in Kuching in October 1997. Secondly, 1997 to 1998 has affected the health of some 75 million people and the economics of 6 ASEAN members. According to WWF, the forest fires in 1997 cost 494 USD millions in timber losses, 470 USD millions in agriculture, 1.8 billions direct and indirect forest benefits, 30 millions in capturable biodiversity, 25 millions for firefighting, and 272 millions in carbon release, it also caused a short-term damage to health. It damaged industrial productions and fisheries, and it also set back tourism sector in losses on airports and airlines, and also caused a several airline crash tragedy.
Next, we move on to the ASEAN response. As the haze wrought dramatic damage, many look to ASEAN to respond. The first initiative taken is Bandung Conference 1992. As the haze wrought dramatic damage, many look to ASEAN to respond. Regional initiative began with the 1992 Bandung Conference and workshops in Indonesia and Malaysia in 1992. The second initiative is Haze Technical Task Force (HTTF) was established at the 6th ASEAN Senior Official of the Environment meeting in 1995. The Haze Technical Task Force (HTTF) was established, while the objective of the HTTF was to operationalize and implement the measures stated in the 1995 ASEAN Cooperation Plan on Transboundary Pollution. The third initiative is Regional Haze Action Plan (RHAP). The Regional Haze Action Plan was the result of the renewed effort. It was a soft law, non-binding international instrument approved for implementation by the ASEAN Ministerial Meeting on Haze without going through the tedious process of national ratification required by the 1969 Vienna Convention on the Law of Treaties. The last initiative is ASEAN Agreement on Transboundary Haze Pollution (ATHP) was proposed. In 2002, the ASEAN Agreement on Transboundary Haze Pollution (ATHP) was proposed. This was a legally binding regional treaty providing for legal support to the RHAP upon ratification by at least 6 countries. In 2003, it became the first legally binding ASEAN Regional Environmental Agreement to be entered into force.